But tonight what we're talking about is how to use hypnosis and NLP to magnify the law of attraction. Hi, my name is Bill Gladwell. And this is my wife, Nikki. We're hypnotherapists, also an NLP practitioner. I'm a trainer in hypnosis. I've been doing it for a little over 16 years now. Anybody in here ever been hypnotized before? Oh, there's one. And you, for fun or for some other?
Smoking.
For smoking. And did you quit?
For about 3 years.
It worked.
It works.
Yep. We do all kinds of things. We do weight loss, stop smoking, depression, anxiety. I've worked with schizophrenics before through doctors' offices. You name it, I've worked with it. We also do business training, so we do sales training, customer service training. And so we get out there and we work with a wide range of people. But tonight what we're talking about is how to use hypnosis and NLP to magnify the law of attraction. Has anybody seen the movie The Secret? Who has not seen the movie? You too. Have you heard of it? You can download it off the internet. You can also watch it on the internet. You can buy it on DVD or videotape. But you go to thesecret.tv, and that's the website. And it'll tell you everything about The Secret. But The Secret itself is about the law of attraction. Does anybody know what the law of attraction is? What is it? You don't have to raise your hand, just shout it out.
Like attracts like.
Like attracts like? Does everybody agree with that? Yeah, that's what it is. The law of attraction isn't anything new. When you watch The Secret, had you heard of the law of attraction before? Okay, where have you heard about it from?
There are so many books written about it.
Yeah, have you heard of Think and Grow Rich? Napoleon Hill? That's the law of attraction. That's one of the first books I remember reading, and that was back in the early 90s, 89, 90, somewhere around there, that I read the law of attraction, or Think and Grow Rich. And it's about the law of attraction. I don't think he ever comes right out and says that it's the law of attraction, but that's what he's talking about. So anything that you focus on, you tend to get more of, right? So we're going to do a little exercise. So I want you to, everybody, not physical exercise. So stay in your seat. I'm going to do a mental exercise. I want you to look around and I want you to notice everything that's black in the room. I'll give you just a few seconds to do that. Notice everything that's black. Got it? Now close your eyes, and you can yell this out as I ask you. Close your eyes and name everything that's red with your eyes closed. Come on, louder than that, I can't hear you. Oh, the writing, you knew that though, the writing on his shirt. Okay, you can open your eyes. What you were doing is focus on everything that's black. And then you changed gears and I asked you, everything that was red, you didn't focus on that. So you were still thinking of the things that were black. You get more of what you think of. Who in here has used the law of attraction for anything in their life? Okay, you want to share a little bit?
Let me think well, just an example of today, I guess it could be kind of like that. I hadn't talked to my sister in a couple of weeks, and I kept thinking about her all day long. I was going to email her, and I forgot to do it, and I kept saying, I'm going to call her Saturday, and around 5 o'clock she called me. So it was like I was thinking about her all day, and then she called me.
That's good. That's a good example. Somebody else, yeah.
I use it in my business.
What do you do, countertop sales?
Yes.
Okay, good guess on my part, right?
Self-explanatory. I've been actually doing it for about a year and a half, and I really didn't even know I was doing it because I needed customers, so I started thinking, well, if I think about customers, it'll happen. And I can create a flow of customers by thinking about it, and when I get really burnt out, I stop thinking about customers, and customers go away. And then I have to start thinking, customers, 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 and it comes back. It works. It's incredible.
Okay. Who else? We had somebody else said they used it.
I've used it a lot of different ways. Most recently, I set the intention, so to speak, to buy some properties, and the properties came, and they suited my needs.
Okay.
I bought them, no money down, that whole big deal.
That's good. That's good. These are all good examples. Who in here, everybody knew what the title of the class was when they got here tonight? Did you come for the class, or did you just come because you had some extra time? For the class, I hope, right? So what did you hope to get out of the class?
Better understand.
More knowledge. Well, with the law of attraction, for some of you, you've used it. For those of you who may not have used it yet, you've used it in ways, but maybe not in a positive way, at least not on purpose. And I'm going to explain to you how to use that as we go through the night. Now, with the people that have used it before, it sounds like you're sitting down, and for you it was because you got someone to call you. But for you, when it comes to business and you have customers coming in, if you sit in a room and you think about customers calling you, are you going to get any business?
I'm gonna get calls.
You're going to get calls, but you have to do a little bit of action. You got to answer the phone. You have to go out and do the work, right?
I visualize signing contracts.
Good. Signing contracts, that's good. You got to couple the law of attraction with a little bit of action, because you can sit around and think about how rich you want to be or what kind of life you want as much as time that you have in the day, but if you don't take any action on that, it's not going to happen no matter how much you think about it. And you do. If you didn't answer the phone when people were calling, nothing would ever happen, right?
Right.
Okay. And the same with you. I mean, the phone rang, and you were thinking about someone and they called you, and the phone rang. If you wouldn't have answered it, then you would have never known that they were calling. Right. So there's got to be some action. I'm working with a gentleman now who he has started a new job, and he's in sales, and he works out of his house. And when I first saw him, he was having problems picking up the phone. He just couldn't make himself make the cold calls. It was like the phone was a ton weight when he went to make them. And with hypnosis, we'll talk about hypnosis in a minute, but with hypnosis, we kind of utilize the law of attraction. Not kind of, we actually use it a lot, the law of attraction, in order to get him to focus on making successful calls and getting appointments and making sales. Now, he can sit around and think about that and listen to the CDs that I gave him all that he wants, but if he doesn't pick up the phone for the first time, nothing is ever going to happen. So for you, it's a little bit different. People are calling you, but for him, he actually had to make the action to reach out and do what he said he wanted to do. So you've been hypnotized before, and that you're the only person on purpose, right? And you've been hypnotized before on purpose, but nobody else in here, you have, okay? And you have? You were a late comer. What's your name?
Lillian?
Lillian, you're the only person in the room that we know what your name is, because I didn't go around before and ask. So, Lillian, was it for fun or was it for some kind of therapy?
It was for fun. It was one of John's sessions when the whole group of us were hypnotized.
So did you run around and bark like a dog or anything?
No.
Okay.
We all got in comfortable positions, and that was it.
Good. You're giggling. Did you run around and bark like a dog?
No.
Okay, so was yours for fun or was it for some kind of therapy?
Well, it was mostly for fun.
For fun.
Yeah, and then there were I actually belonged to a hypnosis group, a self-hypnosis group for several years where, you know, we practiced it together and we practiced it at home, and it was just kind of a way of life.
Okay, well, we're going to practice it here today. So for those of you who have went through it, you know what it is. So tell them it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Not a bit.
For those of you that have not done it, I want to know what you guys think of hypnosis. What do you think it is? Anybody? Remember, you don't have to raise your hand.
Altered state.
Altered state?
Talking to the subconscious.
Talking to the subconscious.
Suggestion.
Su-
Suggestion.
What is it?
Suggestion.
Suggestion. What else? Those are all correct in a way. Yes. I mean, those are all part of it. What about you? See, I'll put you on the spot.
Self-hypnosis can be a form of meditation.
Yes, form of meditation. This is completely off the subject, but I have to ask. Is that a no complaint bracelet?
Yes.
Okay, good. Anybody know what the no complaint bracelet is? You're not allowed to complain for 30 days, right?
That's the concept.
That's the concept of it. And if you complain, what happens? You switch sides.
Switch arms.
Yeah. I just heard about it yesterday. It was on the Today Show, I think, or something like that. Okay, so hypnosis. It's not like what you see in the movies. Has anybody seen the movie Office Space? Okay, you have. Okay, well, in the movie Office Space, it's about hypnosis. What happens is a guy that works in an office goes to a hypnotherapist in order to get hypnotized to relieve his stress. The hypnotist has a heart attack and dies in the middle of the session, so the guy's stuck in hypnosis for the rest of the movie. That's what it's about. That can't happen. So if we do if we do some kind of relaxation here, and if I die in the middle, you're either going to one or two things: wake up right away and get help, which is what I would hope you would do, or number two, fall asleep, take a nap, and then wake up whenever you were not tired anymore. So nothing to be scared of there. Hypnosis, there's not really a good definition of hypnosis. And the reason being is there's all kinds of studies, and doctors have different definitions for it. Nobody can really pinpoint what it does. They don't even know if it exists. And if it does exist, they don't know why it works. And they don't know how it works. They're doing studies, but they haven't figured any of this out. The term hypnosis was actually given to the whole process in the 1800s. Hypnosis it comes from a Greek word meaning sleep. And I wish we could disconnect that word from the actual process, because you don't go to sleep. You guys that have been hypnotized before, you didn't go to sleep, did you? The reason a lot of people associate with hypnosis with sleep is, number one, the name, but number two, because when you see somebody hypnotized, they have their eyes closed and they're hunched over and they're relaxed. And you don't have to be relaxed in order to go into a hypnotic state. If you've ever seen any kind of sport, anybody like sports in here? Okay, so if you've ever seen a sports figure, Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan, anybody that's really good at their sport, they talk about going into the zone. Are you guys familiar with that term? The zone is a hypnotic state. And they're fully aware. They have their eyes open. They're doing their sport, but they're in a sort of a trance. Now, I hope nobody in here has a problem with the word trance, because I had one woman in 16 years that said I couldn't use it because she grew up in the 60s and everybody was trying to get into a trance in the 60s and she just didn't like it. So when I say the word trance, when I say the word hypnosis, it's all the same thing. So that's when you go into the zone, that's a state of hypnosis. Have you ever been driving down the road and you can't remember how you got the last few miles? Okay, that is a state of, it's an altered state. And I want to stay away from the word hypnosis, but that's a trance, it's an altered state. If you've ever been reading a book or watching TV or watching a movie and somebody came up to talk to you and you were going, but you have no idea what they were telling you. Have you ever done that before? Okay, that's an altered state. Have you ever been at a movie or even TV commercials and you cry? Have you ever done that? Ever teared up at a movie? That's an altered state. I mean, it's just lights on a screen. You know it's not real, but you still evoked an emotional response from you. Hypnosis, and I'm going to try to make this as easy as I can, and when I explain this to doctors and psychiatrists and stuff, sometimes I make it too complicated, so stop me if you don't understand this. Hypnosis is not the state that you go into. So when you get hypnotized, it's not the trance that you go into. It's the process that takes place as you go into the altered state. Everybody understand that? So anytime you go, the people that taught me, their definition of hypnosis is all communication is hypnosis. So anytime you communicate with somebody, either verbally or non-verbally, that's a state of, you create a state of hypnosis in people. What it is anytime you go through an emotional change, when I say an emotional change, or if I say state, that's a different emotional state, you go through a process of hypnosis. That's when you change from one emotional state to another one. So what kind of emotional states can you change from and to? Just yell them out.
Sad to happy.
Sad to happy. That's a change in emotional state. That process of that change is the hypnosis. When you go to a hypnotherapist, they take you from wherever you're at now, normally, this is how they do it, take you from wherever you're at now to a state of relaxation, right? Why? Because they can keep you there longer than almost any other state because you're relaxed and it's comfortable, and you wouldn't want to go to a hypnotherapist. As a hypnotherapist, I wouldn't want you guys coming to me and then I took you from wherever you're at to being really angry. Because number one, I couldn't keep you there, hopefully, but number two, I don't want to deal with you when you're really angry, right? So that emotional change, though, is still hypnosis. What happens is you become more suggestible when you make that change. So are you guys married? No? Anybody married in here?
Partners.
Okay, good. Good enough. So how long have you been together, can I ask?
4 years.
4 years. Have you ever had a heated debate at all at some point? No. So I just give up. So have you ever been in a heated debate? Have you ever been in a heated debate where you started it and then some point inside of this debate that you forgot what you were arguing about in the first place? Have you ever done that? Has anybody, you've done that? Have you guys done that? Okay. Anybody over here ever done that? The reason being is when you go into another state, you tend to get, I'm going to use the term amnesia, but you just kind of block out what happened in this other state. That's why, for those of you that were hypnotized before, do you remember what happened in this when you went in that state? You do? You don't? Okay, good. Some people don't. And the reason being is because you are going from one state to another and you have certain emotions tied to this state, and on this state over here you have other emotions tied to it. So sometimes you forget what happens in these other states. It's like going into a heated debate like with you guys and you forget what you were arguing about.
Is that like you feel different in Florida than when you feel in
Yes, different states. Now, that's exactly right. This is also why kids, high school kids or college kids can study, and they can answer every question on a pretest when they're laying in their bedroom or sitting at their desk at home. They can regurgitate every answer to a question that you ask them, but when they get in the classroom, they don't do too well on the test, on the actual exam. And it's because they studied in one setting, they were in a certain emotional state, they were relaxed, they weren't worried about it. All of a sudden, they're stressed and they're sitting in the classroom, it's kind of nerve-wracking, and they can't remember anything that they studied. So when I work with kids for study habits, that's what I teach them how to do, is how to get in one state when they study, and when they get in the classroom, they just get right back into that state, get relaxed, and they can remember everything. So I'm not teaching them how to learn better, I'm teaching them how to get back to that state that they learned it in the first place. Does that make sense? So, that's one aspect of hypnosis. In that change from one state to another, it puts you into a trance state. It's like driving the car. You're thinking about driving the car, then you start thinking about something else, you go into another state, and you can't remember how you get the last few miles. Now, where the art of hypnosis comes in is what do you do when a person does that? Because everybody does it about 4 times an hour on average. So you do it automatically. So it's nothing that I'm doing to you or you're doing to yourself. What you need to do is learn how to do it on purpose so you can use it. Now, the art comes in if you're in an altered state and you come to me for weight loss, for example, or if you come to me for smoking cessation. What do you tell the person after they go to that state? Because they're more suggestible, their critical factor is gone. What that means is they don't question things. So if I tell you right now, who smokes in here? Anybody smoke in here? Anybody want to smoke in here? We can do that too. You stopped, or you went back. Okay, good. That's not good. It works. You stopped for 3 years, though. For these people that came in late, you stopped for 3 years, then you went back. What happens is, now see, you got me off track, Kim. Oh, it was smoking. So we got to tell you what to do when you're in that state. You have to learn new habits. And so it's easy to get to that state, but how do you get somebody to stop smoking, for example? Well, there's several different ways. You can get people to hate cigarettes. I don't know what they did for you, or say cigarettes taste bad. What I like to do is link new feelings to that urge that you get in the first place. And if you link new feelings and replace it with something else, you just won't reach for the cigarettes anymore. Well, that's what a lot of people don't do. They go to these weekend courses and they learn how to put people into a trance by talking to them and changing their emotional state, but then that's it. They don't know what to do after they get them there. Well, you really have to know what to do after you get them there. Tonight we're going to talk about the law of attraction. So with the law of attraction, and we hit on this a little bit earlier, is that whatever you focus on, you tend to get more of. So anybody in here want to change anything? So think about what you want. Anybody in here want to lose weight, if you don't mind sharing? Okay, who doesn't? Good.
I don't.
Oh, you asked the question, see, he said he doesn't. So those of you that want to lose weight, when you look in the mirror, what kind of things do you say to yourself? Or when you think about losing weight, what do you think about, and what kind of self-talk do you have? What do you say to yourself about that?
My health depends on it.
Your health depends on it. Okay. What else?
I'd look better.
You'd look better.
Sometimes you say negative things about yourself because, you know, you look in the mirror and you go, oh, I hate the way I look today.
Yeah.
So you say negative things.
A lot of people will say negative things. A lot of people will say, you know, why are you so fat when they look in the mirror? Why are you so fat? And if you ask your brain a question, it comes up with an answer. Well, because you eat too much. You're a fat pig. That's why you're so fat. And then you focus on that. And your answer was what? Health?
My health depends.
My health depends on it. So when you look in the mirror and you think about losing weight and you say to yourself, my health depends on me losing weight.
I don't look in the mirror, I look at the refrigerator.
And what about you? Because you said something about weight loss, right?
I recently have told myself that my hip is really bad, so I need to get the weight off
Okay.
because of that.
Okay. So what happens is that you focus on the hip being bad, so you need to get the weight off. So you're focusing on the weight on the knee, and you're focusing on, what was yours again?
Health.
Health. And yours wasn't too bad, though. What was yours?
I
Look
need-
better.
You need to look better.
Yeah, I need to look better.
So what people tend to do is they focus on the problem. I mean, just it doesn't have to be with weight loss, anything. When something comes up, they focus on the problem. You should focus on the problem about 10% of the time, the solution the other 90%. So that is really what the law of attraction is about, is focusing on the solution. What's the solution to losing weight? That's what you have to ask yourself. What is it?
Eat less.
Exercise. Reduce calories.
Exercise more.
Program.
Yeah, there's only one way you can lose weight, right? It's to burn more calories than what you take in. And you either have to eat less, you have to exercise more, or a combination of the two. That's
Or eat better food.
Or eat better foods, yeah. The kinds of foods that you eat, there's only one way to lose weight. Burn more calories than what you take in. It's that simple. It's like cigarettes. If you want to stop smoking, quit putting a cigarette in your mouth, right? Because, you know, if you put it under your arm, you're not a smoker. So go around and try that for a week and see how that feels for you.
I'll have to remember.
So what is the ultimate goal of weight loss? What do you want?
Look good.
Better.
To look good, better health,
Feel good.
to feel good. What about you?
All of this.
All of the above, and to look good, right?
Buy a new wardrobe.
Buy a new wardrobe. Good. That is the kind of things that you need to focus on. So if we take weight loss, just for example, when it comes to the law of attraction, you want to write down the things that you're going to get 5, 10, maybe even 20 years from now. You want to write down the things that you're going to get next week. What happens a week from now after you make the decision that you're going to, you know, get all the weight off and you're going to be that person that you want to be? A week from now, you go to the refrigerator. Apparently you have some stuff in the refrigerator that's not that great, right? So what happens when you go to the refrigerator and you think about, you see these foods, what happens a week from now?
They don't appeal to me, things that I see There's anything here that looks good to me.
There's nothing there that looks good to you. Good. What about you? Have you started anything yet? Have you?
A little bit.
A little bit. So what? A week from now, you know, you go on a good diet. I don't like diets, but let's call it a diet for now. You go on a diet. A week from now, what happens? You go to the refrigerator, and then what?
You remove things that you know have a lot of calories.
Do you get cravings that come up?
No, I just eat the wrong things.
You eat the wrong things? Okay. Well, what about you? You've tried to lose weight before, I'm sure, right? So what happens?
Well, usually what happens is I starve myself through the day, and come night I open the refrigerator and I eat everything that's in sight.
That's the way a lot of people do it. It is. Everybody does the things that you do because of one of two things, either for pleasure or pain. You either link pleasure to it or you link pain to it. It's really that simple. It sounds really simplified, but it is that simple. If you think of anything you like to do, anything you don't like to do, you either link pleasure or pain to it. So when you think about losing weight, do you link pleasure to it or do you link pain to it?
Pleasure.
Do you?
Pleasure to the results, maybe.
You link pleasure to the results.
But
What about to the actual process of losing weight?
People link pain to
Yeah.
driving themselves.
Would you agree? You said pleasure at first, but you just told me you starve yourself all day long
Yeah.
and then overeat when you get home. That process is kind of painful, is it? Because if it's pleasurable, you're going to keep doing that.
Right. Just the hardest part of it is if you could find, my view of it is if I could figure out how to make not eating pleasurable,
Yes.
that would seem to work. But
Okay. So we got that clear, right? So what happens with taxes? Anybody hate to do taxes in here? Okay, so you link pain to doing taxes. Not everybody does. There's, accountants, they like it, so they link pleasure to it. But some people link pain to doing taxes. So you guys, most of you link pain to doing taxes. Anybody not have them done yet? Okay, good. So when will you get them done, traditionally? Yeah, anybody? The last minute?
October 9th.
October 9th, you file an extension. So do I, all right? You're less likely, this is a complete aside, but you're less likely to get audited if you file an extension. You are. You have to pay a little bit of fee, but it's not that much when compare it to an audit. So for you guys, you link pain to doing taxes. What happens when it gets closer to the due date? Doesn't matter if it's in October or if it's in April. More stress, you begin to link more pain to not doing the taxes. So you still don't like to do them, but you take the lesser of two pains and you go ahead and do it, right? So it never becomes pleasurable for you. Is it ever pleasurable to do taxes for you guys? Okay, good. Not good. It's pleasurable when they're done. So you take the lesser of two pains and you do it that way. So that's a motivation strategy for doing taxes for you guys. Now you have something that if somebody called you on a Saturday morning that you jump out of bed and go and do, right? You don't have to tell me what it is, but everybody's got something like that they really like to do. You link a lot of pleasure to that. Wouldn't you agree? Now, who has a really unique hobby in here that they don't think anybody else does? Or something that you like to do, like skydive or something like that you don't think anybody else does?
I used to have snakes.
You used to have snakes. Anybody else in here used to have snakes? You did. You have them now? And you raised your hand over here too? As a kid, good. You had snakes with an S. How many did you have?
I think 7 or 8 at one time.
Yeah, that's snakes. Do you have 7 or 8?
I raised rats. Is that
You have 16? Wow, she's got you beat. Okay, so let's take you two. We'll leave you guys here. The rest of you, would you want to have snakes? No. Why? You link pain to it? And you link pleasure to having snakes, both of you. I'm sure you still probably do. It wouldn't bother you if you had more, right?
Bark.
Yeah. And you guys that don't want snakes, you like pain to it, right? Now there's something that you said, there's something that you like to do that the snake people probably don't like to do. What's something that you like to do?
I like to play the piano.
How about you guys?
Square dance.
Okay, do you like to square dance or play the piano?
I dance.
How about play the piano?
I would like to, but I don't. I can't.
Would you like to square dance?
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay. How about you?
I used to.
Piano's okay, dancing, probably not.
Probably not. Okay, so we got kind of a pain on dancing. So when I say pain, it doesn't have to be a strong pain. It's just something you don't like to do. See how that works? Now, is there anything that you like to do at some point, maybe in a childhood, as a teenager, early adulthood, but now you don't like to do it? Or vice versa, you didn't like to do it, and now you like to do it. You made that switch.
When I was a teenager, I liked to
Spinach?
listen to like rock and roll. Now I like the sound of it.
Okay, rock and roll. You made a change. It was pleasurable at one point, now it's painful. You don't like the sound of it.
Right.
Okay, good. So that's how the pain-pleasure thing works. So we're throwing a lot at you here, so stop me if I go too fast. Now, getting back to the law of attraction. Everybody has something that they want to move towards here. So how do you focus on the good things? Hypnosis, and again, we're going to get back to hypnosis and how it works, and we're going to use it here. If you take a flashlight into a room, if we turn out the lights, took a flashlight, it kind of has a broad beam. I'm going to see a lot of you at the same time. Think of hypnosis as a laser beam. What it does is zero in on exactly one point, and you get to focus on that one point for about 10, 15 minutes, maybe longer if we're in a therapy session. By focusing on that one point, that's all that your brain's thinking about, at least your unconscious mind. So you can begin to change your beliefs, your values, your ideas that you have about that, your habits. And I tell people with smoking, weight loss, if they have any kind of biting their fingernails or anything that's remedial that we have to take from doing something to not changing a habit to not doing something, or vice versa. I can move in with you for about 6 months to a year. We have 4 kids, and they get to come too. So just remember that. And if you put a cigarette in your mouth, I'll knock it out, remind you that you're not supposed to be smoking, remind you some other things that you can do besides smoke. If you want to lose weight, I can remind you what foods to eat, what not to eat. When it's time to exercise, I'll put you on the treadmill, make sure that you do your treadmill and get you off, put you in the shower and shower up and go eat again. Now, I can do that. It'll take about 6 months to a year. You'll develop new habits. That's really what we're dealing with, is changing your habits. You'll develop new habits, and that's just the person that you'll be from that point on. Most people don't want me to move in with them. Matter of fact, I haven't, well, except for Nikki, I haven't run into anybody that has wanted me to move in with them. So, for those of you that don't want me to move in with you, what happens is you use hypnosis. Hypnosis helps you zero in, and you learn faster, and we can do in a very short period of time what normally would take 6 months to a year. There was a study done at Stanford University where they took a basketball team. They took half the basketball team from the university and they put them in a classroom. They took the other half, put them on the basketball court. On the basketball court, you're shaking your head, you heard this before. On the basketball court, they practiced shooting foul shots. In the classroom, they closed their eyes and imagined they were shooting foul shots. When they brought the groups back together, the classroom improved at a faster rate. A couple reasons for that. Now keep in mind, you can't take somebody off the street that has never played basketball. Both groups had the motor skills. They knew how to do it. There's 2 reasons for that. Number one is that they practiced perfectly in their head when they were in the classroom. They didn't miss any shots. Every ball went in. They didn't have to wait for the ball to come back. They could just keep shooting the foul shots, and they were all perfect. Has anybody heard the phrase, practice makes perfect? That's not true. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. You can practice all you want, but if you're doing it wrong, you're going to learn how to do it wrong. So perfect practice makes perfect. So that was the reason why. Number one, they practiced perfectly. And number 2, it was the time. They could do a lot more foul shots in a lot less time. They already had the motor skills. They were just kind of training their brain. That's what you do anytime that you use hypnosis and you want to change something. Now, you can use hypnosis for a variety of things. You can use it to make sales. You can use it, to build a relationship with somebody, not to trick them into a relationship, but, to build rapport with this person, to make the person feel more comfortable. We're talking about things that you want, to make a change, or, you said you want to lose weight, or stop smoking, or if you want more money. Is there anything, you don't want more snakes. You already have, take some of her. She's got 16. What's that?
I would get to move out.
You would get to move out with the snakes, right? Yeah. How did you get 16 snakes, by the way?
That's down from what I used to have.
How many did you, what's the most you've ever had at one time?
I've had is probably close to 40.
Wow. Huh. I don't know. The neighbors. None of the neighbors have any animals anymore. Yeah, no squirrels, no groundhogs, nothing. There's a little dog next door is gone. Okay, so the law of attraction. Here's how I like to deal with the law of attraction when you're using hypnosis. Anybody ever worked with timelines in here before? You've worked with it in school at least, right? I mean, you know what a time, if you look at a history book, you know what a timeline is. Everybody has timelines in here. If you think of something that you have to do, think of something that you did about 6 months ago. Can everybody think of something like that? If you can't, think of like last Christmas or last, 4th of July, something like that. Think of a major holiday. Everybody got something like that? Okay, close your eyes for a minute. Think of that moment. And just notice where it's at in your head. Now, think of today, sitting here, keep your eyes closed, and make a picture of that and notice where that's at. And then I want you to imagine something that you have to do a week from now. Or maybe even imagine the 4th of July coming up in a few months. And notice where that's at. Now open your eyes. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Were the pictures that you saw in different places? Okay, good. Take your finger in your mind and draw from the picture that was in the past to the present to the future. That's your timeline. Got it? Everybody okay with that so far? We only want to, for the law of attraction, we just want to deal with the future right now. Right? Because you want to continue to focus on the things that you want. So if you take the future, close your eyes once again, and think of something you have to do a week from now. And then pop up something that you have to do a month from now. And then think of the 4th of July, because that's coming up in a few months. And then open your eyes for me. So were these in some kind of progressive fashion where something was a week from now was at one point, then you had 2 weeks from now and a month from now, and you had some kind of future, I hope, right? Good. So explain to me how that was for you. You were shaking your head yes. How does that line up for you?
Well, I was thinking about the process that I've started to go through of becoming a broker, a real estate broker.
Well, what I'm talking about, I don't want to know the content, I want to know the context. What I mean is, how do these pictures line up? How did you see them in your head? Was the future farther away? Or was it to your right or left? Or
Okay. It felt closer,
The-
more doable.
which did? The stuff that was coming up sooner?
The whole timeline seemed compressed.
Okay, good. Now, so you have whatever you have to do a week from now right here, maybe a month from now here. Okay, well, how do I know that? Because when he showed me, he was going like this, so you know where everything's at. So people don't think about this stuff. What about for somebody, you did a timeline back here. How did yours line up?
Left to right.
Left to right?
And the further back it was in the past, the further to the left it was.
Okay. Anybody have one that goes this way? Okay, see, you guys have that. So the future's out here someplace, and then it comes in like this. So whatever your timeline is, just think about that. I'm not weirding everybody out with all these concepts, am I? That's a timeline. Now, the law of attraction, wouldn't it be helpful if you put what you wanted to do on your timeline somehow so you had it to look at? So you had it to move towards. Right? Here's the problem we have with this, though. Has anybody wanted to do something that you've really wanted to do, and you've wanted to do it for a long time now? Anybody want to share what that thing is? Moved to Florida, is that what you said? How long have you been wanting to do that?
Over 20 years.
Oh, well, wow. It's because nobody will come in and move the snakes. So you've been wanting to do it for over 20 years. 20 years ago, if you think back, when you first thought about it, why didn't you? Don't tell us the reason, just did you get to a point where you said, okay, I'll do it a little bit later? Okay, good. So what happens when that little bit later came along? What happened?
Life got in the way.
Life got in the way. Okay, so you got to that point. It's been 20 years now. You've been wanting to do it for 20 years? Okay, so imagine just for a minute with me. Close your eyes and imagine moving to Florida. Got it? Now go back 20 years from now, because I don't know. I mean, I could be completely wrong about this. Go back 20 years and imagine moving to Florida. Whatever you were doing 20 years ago. Got it? With your eyes closed. Can you imagine that now? Now imagine just 10 years from now. Got it? Now let's go back 20 years. Think about moving to Florida when you were 20 years younger. And reach out and point or touch where that picture is at that you have in your mind of moving to Florida. I mean physically, because I want to see it. How far away is it?
From 20 years ago.
Yeah, imagine you're 20 years younger and you're thinking about moving to Florida. Where's that picture at? Right here. Okay, now think about 10 years ago and you would still want to move to Florida. Where's that picture at? About right there. Okay, good. And now think about now. I mean, you're sitting here now and you think about moving to Florida. Where's that picture at? Up ahead. Okay, now open your eyes. So the picture's always somewhere, it's getting further away, is what you're telling me. It's up ahead someplace now, right? That's the problem we have with this law of attraction and stuff. It's not a problem with the law of attraction, but it's a problem with people setting goals. They set goals and then they unconsciously put them on their timeline. That's just what people do. And they keep getting pushed back because they think they're solid. So if they set them a week from now, have you ever had anything that you wanted to do a week from now, and then you got a week from now, and you said, I got another week to do it, I'll just push it back another week? What's that? Mow the lawn. Well, you can't push that back too far. So what happens is you keep pushing it back because you get a week from now, and it's still a week out because you never put in some kind of mechanism to move that closer so you would actually do it. So we need to not only have you set those in your timeline, but that's where the law of attraction comes in. We need to implement the law of attraction so it actually gets closer and you move towards it. Okay? So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to take you through a process. We're going to set some goals that you can put on your timeline, but then we're also going to give you some techniques so you can use the law of attraction in order to get those goals closer to you and actually accomplish them. So some of you have seen The Secret. Some of you have used the law of attraction without seeing The Secret. How do you use the law of attraction? I mean, you two said you sit around and think about it, right?
That was just one example.
One example. And same, is that all you do? Or do you do some other things?
Well, visualization.
Visualization.
That's primarily how I might do things.
So anybody in here want to have a goal of something physical? They want something. Could be a boat or a new car. Oh, you have something.
I have a goal that I want a new car. I have a certain car that I have in mind by January of 2008.
Okay.
So 10 months from now.
Okay, so let's say everybody wants a car in here. So well, let's help her out. What's your name?
Noreen.
Noreen. Let's help Noreen out. How can she stay focused on that car? Because, Gina, what is that? 8 months?
It's, I guess, 10 months.
10 months. By January?
2008. This is March. Maybe it is 10 months. It's
We
10
got
months.
minus 12. Yeah, there we go. This is March, I guess so. 9, 10 months. Okay. So, how can she stay focused on that until January? Put a picture in the refrigerator. Everybody okay with that? What else?
I'll tell you one thing I do, and I see this car everywhere I go. Whenever I see it, I say to myself, there goes my next car. So it's like I'm always, affirming in my mind that there's my next car as it goes by.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I do.
What kind of car is it?
What's that?
What kind of car is it?
It's a Nissan Altima.
Yeah, you can hang pictures up. We have stuff on the mirrors. Dry erase markers work well, by the way. So you can take dry erase markers and write on almost any window or any mirror in the house.
Just don't tell your kids that.
Yeah, don't tell your kids that. So, I mean, I even, write daily goals up there. But they're for her, Here's what here's my law of attraction right here. I'm write that up there. That doesn't work. But I try. But yeah, you can write, by January of 2008, I'll have the Nissan Altima, right? You can write that on everything that do you do the dishes? You got a window right in front of you?
Behind me.
Behind you? So you can write it. We have a window in front of us. You can write it right in the window in front of you. So wherever you can see it. It keeps you focused. It's a reminder to stay focused on it. Anything that you focus on for 30 days or more becomes a habit. We're talking about getting a physical thing. If you want to stop smoking, you want to lose weight, that's a habit. If you focus on it for 30 days or more, it'll become a new habit. So anybody in here want to start smoking? If you do, think about smoking for 30 days or more, and you'll start. And that's really true. Think about when you started smoking. Did you like the first cigarette that you put in your mouth?
No.
You really had to practice at it until you got it. Normally, on average, it takes people about 30 days. Anybody heard the phrase that it takes 21 days to change a habit? It doesn't. It takes 30. If you're really, really good, it takes 21 days. But for everybody else, most of us, it takes 30. So don't give up at 21 if you ever want to change something. Go to 30, you'll get there. Also, the concept that I like to use that's the easiest way to apply the law of attraction is the last thing that you think about when you go to sleep at night gets repeated over and over and over again until you wake up in the morning. Does that make sense? Has anybody had to be someplace and they were really excited about it and they were thinking about it when they were going to sleep? They had to be someplace in the morning and they woke up before their alarm clock went off?
Yeah.
It's because you were thinking about it. Now, anybody have kids in here together? Anybody have kids in here, period? Okay, so when you have kids, here's how it usually works with the mother and the father with kids, little kids, babies. They bring them home from the hospital, they put them in the crib down the hall at some point, and then the mother's up, every 15 minutes, half hour, making sure the baby's okay? Why? Because when she goes to sleep, what's she thinking about? She's thinking about the baby. And then the next morning she goes, I didn't get any sleep at all because I was up all night, and the father says, what? I didn't even hear you get up. Because he's not thinking about the baby. He's thinking about, if somebody's, hopefully, thinking about if somebody's going to break in, then he'll be up. He can hear something if somebody breaks into the house, and he'll protect his family. Because that's what he's thinking about when he goes to sleep. He's also thinking about probably getting up the next morning, doing whatever he has to do, and he'll get up. So whatever you think about when you go to sleep gets repeated over and over and over again. Now, how can you use those two concepts? Anything you focus on for 30 days or more becomes a habit, and the last thing you think about when you go to sleep at night gets repeated over and over and over again. How can you use those? Now, no answers? So, for 30 days, you want to do something every night so it gets repeated over and over and over again. It makes everything real simple. So if you want to stop smoking, remember, everything's got to be positive, right? Everybody agree with that? If you say, I don't want to smoke anymore, what happens if I say, don't think of a purple elephant? You have to think of a purple elephant. So if I say, I don't want to smoke anymore, I have to think of smoking in order to think of not smoking. If I say, don't think of a striped dog, tell me, how do you picture that? How do you not think of a striped dog? What's that?
Impossible.
Yeah, but what's the picture, the image that you get? And then what? How do you not think about it then? You erase it. Okay, so she gets a picture of it, then she erases it in her mind. Anybody else do something different?
Polka dots on it.
You get a striped dog and you put polka dots on it. Okay, and what was that? That's what you did. And some people put a big red circle with a line through it. Some people would do that, I've heard. That's how you not think of something. So when I say don't stop, or think of, not smoking, I want to stop smoking. It's just that you have to think of smoking to do it. So if you think of being a what? A non-smoker, right? That's just the opposite. So you think about being a non-smoker, and if you picture going through work, going through play, going through your normal life as a non-smoker, that's what you want to focus on. So if you lay down every night and you go to sleep and you say, every day and every way I'm becoming a non-smoker forever and ever. Or just say, I am a non-smoker forever and ever. And you repeat that. Don't do it out loud. You'll drive people crazy around you. Just to yourself, I am a non-smoker forever and ever. And you do it like counting sheep in your own head. I am a non-smoker forever and ever. And you do it until you fall asleep. And you do it for 30 days, you'll stop smoking. Same with weight loss. Every day I'm becoming thinner and thinner and reaching my perfect weight. Or whatever you want to say. But something positive. Every day I'm becoming thinner and thinner and reaching my perfect weight. You do it for 30 days. And you do it, repeat it to yourself over and over again before you go to sleep, until you go to sleep, and you'll lose weight. You really will. Without anything else. That's the law of attraction. You're focusing on it. Now, why don't people do this? It sounds easy, but why don't you do it? It's easy to do, right? It's also easy not to do. Here's what I find when I tell people this, especially people that I see over a series of appointments, is that they'll go home and 5 days into it, they'll stop doing it, and then they won't do it anymore. You have to do it for 30 days. So that's the first thing I ask people. Well, I haven't stopped smoking, or I haven't lost the weight, or I haven't reached my goal. Oh, yeah, but are you repeating that thing over and over? No, I stopped that a couple weeks ago. You know, it's a very important part.
When I was hypnotized to quit smoking, they give me a tape, and they said to listen to that tape over and over again. And it basically said, I'm a non-smoker, I'm a non-smoker. And to go to sleep at night listening to that tape, focused on that tape.
Okay. That's what you do. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works.
So there's two things that I want you to do just to wrap this up real quick. Number one, two or three things. Next 30 days, come up with some kind of phrase you can focus on every night as you go to sleep. That's going to bring in the law of attraction. You're going to begin to focus on things. It's going to become a habit for you, and you're going to feel uncomfortable when you don't do it. So you're going to want to move on to something else after 30 days and focus on something else. All right? Whatever that is for you, make sure it's positive. Got it? Also, some kind of action. You got to couple these two things you got to couple the law of attraction with action. So for you with the car, go to a dealership, test drive one, or get on the internet and download, do whatever you need to do, but take some kind of action. Whatever you had. If it's a vacation you want to go to, get some brochures, go to a travel agency, start that thing going. All right? Okay, I'm done. Thanks.